What's good, y'all? Flash Speaks back from another video, man. I meant to talk about this, man, yesterday, man. So Hulk Hogan, man, the actual guy, man, that put wrestling on the map, the Caitlin Clark, of wrestling, if I will. But no, it'd be better to say Caitlin Clark was the Hulk Hogan, is the Hulk Hogan of women's sports. Like, meaning, wasn't the best wrestler, wasn't like the first champion, the guy that really brokered anything like that, but the guy that really brought eyes probably to the sport unlike anyone else, in the 80s, Hulk Hogan. And the crazy thing about it is he was on Rocky Balboa movie. This is the first time a lot of people saw him, Those who know that before then he was like I think a wrestler coming out of either Florida, one of those places, and he really copied superstar Billy Graham's persona, his image and everything. But he really took it to the next level. Superstar Billy Graham, man, was a great wrestler who inspired a lot of wrestlers. The way they looked, the way they wrestled, a lot of that. From Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, that look, the blonde hair, the 19-inch, 22-inch pythons, all that. But anyway, I'm going to say some things about Hulk Hogan. I really don't give a damn what a lot of people think or whatever when it comes to this. This is just my opinion on the situation. His impact in wrestling, without question, wrestling wouldn't be what it is without him. WWF, which is really what it was, WWF at the time, would not be what it is. WWE would not be what it is. The wrestling world would not be what it is. We live in a world, though, however, where because of legitimate reasons, it's a very sensitive time. People are very quick to get you for saying things, that are buzzwords or offensive things, especially as it deals with race, as it deals with gender or whatever. And this is a world that was created to be that way, right or wrong, right? I'm of the opinion that a lot of it is extreme and overcorrection. Like Hulk Hogan, let's just keep it a buck, when it comes to the racist thing. He having a conversation with his daughter. He mad about his daughter messing around with black guys who probably was just sexing her down real crazy. So she just started really being the black guys, and maybe she don't care. She'll deal with a black guy, white guy, whatever. Hulk Hogan being a father. Sometimes fathers, he might not necessarily hate all black people like say a David Duke or a Ku Klux Klan follower or something like that. Like, he might not be of the Aryan Nation, Aryan Brotherhood or something. He might not be like that. But he might not want his daughter messing with black dudes. Like, in his mind, he might want his daughter sleeping, because we're very critical about who our daughters sleep with. Like, he might be on the type of thing where I ain't got really necessarily anything against black dudes, But if me and my daughter are having a conversation, and I'm mad and I might call, her boyfriend a nigga, like it is what it is. He don't know that the world is listening. He don't know he's recorded. Like, let's keep it 100. I know white people. I know y'all, when y'all talk amongst each other and ain't no black dudes around, you're going to call people niggas. You're going to do all of that. A lot of y'all. Like, we ain't got to act funky and be, fake about stuff. It is what it is. Like, when people are alone, they say all types of shit amongst each other in the locker rooms or whatever. And I know some of my brothers and sisters ain't gonna like me saying this. I really don't give a fuck. It is what it is, right? I'm going to tell you what I believe about something or what I think. So, could Hulk Hogan be a racist? Maybe, right? Could he also not necessarily be a racist in a sense? Well, I guess you got to define a racist. Most of y'all, I notice, when y'all talk, y'all don't really have, if someone's to then ask you, define racist, most of you motherfuckers can't define it. Why? Because, like I said before, you follow waves, you follow trends, you follow narratives. You don't really sit down and think, damn, what am I actually saying? What is my actual beliefs? What is my actual position when it comes to things? And that's a problem, because if you're a grown person especially a man, I can speak for men, that's how you should operate. All right, I define a racist as an individual, okay, it has a couple of different connotations, but the main thing is an individual who is of the belief that mankind, right, is divided into different races, right, that are the main sign being the color of the skin, and along with that, that certain skin colors are superior to others, or that they're, by virtue of that skin color and the blood that comes with it and everything, that they're superior to others. Okay? It really found its clearest form in what you called the European Enlightenment. Okay? You had people like, guys like Voltaire, guys like Hume, right? These were thinkers who actually wrote on this stuff, and they actually wrote that, that they divided by the Caucasian, the Negro, the Mongoloid, which is supposedly covers all the Asians, right? This is a rough understanding of it, right? But the idea is that the Caucasian is superior, is on top. Usually the Negroes either on the bottom or the Asians on the bottom, Native American, there's usually like that, right? So that's a racist for real, someone who has this type of ideology. Obvious that like the Aryan Brotherhood have that ideology. Skinheads, not the skinheads who just do it, culturally as far as the look and all that, but I'm talking about those who consider themselves the younger wing of the Ku Klux Klan, and other groups, similar groups like that, right? There's a difference of opinion as to whether or not groups like the Nation of Islam or other groups that are ran by like minorities, okay, fall under that category. There's a difference of opinion with that. I'm not having that discussion right now. So that deals with the question of whether or not a minority person can be a racist, or is that inapplicable to them, and can they only be say a bigot or prejudice or something like that. I'm not getting into that discussion, okay? I'm just defining what a racist is. So when we talk about Hulk Hogan, I don't know if Hulk Hogan fits in that description. Is he like Hume, or is he like Voltaire, or is he like some of those other guys who literally believe that the white race is superior to others, okay? Now, what we do know about Hulk Hogan is that he don't want his daughter messing with no black guys. He would prefer that they don't. Or that the black guys he's messing with, he didn't like, and, he called him a nigga, blah, blah, blah. These are what we know, right? Now, for some black people, they get offended by, that's enough for them to just say he's a racist. For me, right, who prefer to operate with a little bit more education, I don't go that far, okay? I leave it open that he might be, but for me to put the absolute judgment on him, I require just a little bit more information. That's just me. You don't like that? Oh, the fuck well, right? That's just the way I see it, okay? I operate according to a code that I accepted as the code that I'm going to operate on, right? Sorry. Not sorry. All right. So, he's dead and passed on now. And unfortunately for him, his legacy is going to be mixed. I say this, when it comes to wrestling, without a doubt, he's I say he's the GOAT of it, because he's the guy that really put it on the map. Now, he's not the GOAT in ring. He's not even GOAT on the mic, or any of that stuff. But as far as making wrestling accessible and like being the biggest attraction ever in that thing, it's Hulk Hogan, without a doubt, okay? Now, the person, though, after that, he put himself in a jam. Allowed himself to be caught, saying the N-word and in an era where you just, you're going to get judged for that, to his daughter. What you going to say, man? You know, I gave how I feel about it. Like, to me, it's like, damn, Hulk. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't a good look, bro. But like I said, it takes a little bit more for me to stamp that on you, right? Because I'm a real dude. I know the conversations that people like me, conversations I might have with my daughter about a white guy, right? I might, who knows? You know what I mean? I ain't gonna sit there and tell y'all, but who knows? I'm a real motherfucker, so that's what I'm saying. I just know how it is, right? I don't think white people or put it this way, I don't think human beings, people, are the way they are in private, the way they are in public, right? People who are like that are saints and prophets. I believe Jesus was like that. I believe Moses was like that. I know the Prophet Muhammad was like that, right? The way he is in private, the way he is in person, the way you're going to get it, right? But most other people, they're like hiding their bad qualities, they're hiding their sins, and they present to the people what is deemed accessible in the public space. That's where most of us are, right? And that's enough, right? I don't need to know how you are privately. Like me personally, I prefer not to know that Hulk Hogan had that conversation with his daughter. I don't want to know that about him. I'd rather just deal with the fake guy, right? As long as he's not going to hurt me, it doesn't matter. I don't need to know your sins. I don't need to know the blackness of your heart. I don't need to know none of that unless I got to protect me or my kids from you. And like, that's not really relevant when it comes to a damn guy like Hulk Hogan, right? So that's what I say with that, man. He passed on now. His legacy will be what it is. He's with God now, right? So, I'm not going to sit here and I saw somebody ran a whole thing, man. Hulk Hogan the racist and all of that, had a whole live about it and all that. I'm not into that kind of stuff, man. I don't see the benefit in it. Like, basically all you're doing is trying to bump your channel up, be using somebody like that. I'm not into that, man. You know what I mean? And, but to each his own when it comes to that stuff. That's pretty much all, I wanted to say on that, So I get with you, my folks later. Peace out.